For 300 years, the galaxy believed Earth was dead. Humans had vanished after the last Great War. No ships, no colonies, no signals, just silence. Alien empires moved on. They built, they conquered, and they laughed at the old stories of the Terrans, the strange creatures who once burned stars in battle. Most believed the human fleet was just a myth, but Varnix didn't. Varnix was a young alien historian from the planet Varel. He worked alone in a dusty archive deep underground. His job was simple: sort old records, delete useless ones, and file the rest. Boring work. No one paid him much attention. But one day, Varnix found something strange. It was a small black box, buried in a file marked Myths and Folktales. The box had no labels, no markings, just a small blinking light. Curious, Varnix connected it to his terminal. At first, nothing happened. Then the screen lit up with a single message. Fleet movement detected. Signal origin, Terran Deep Probe, 09A. Varnix's heart froze. He checked the date. The signal was only 12 days old. That was impossible. Human probes hadn't worked in centuries. And this signal, it came from the edge of the galaxy, near the Ashen Void, a place so dangerous that even war fleets avoided it. Varnix stared at the words. He ran the analysis 3 times. It was real. The Terran probe was active, and it had seen something moving, something big. He tried to tell his supervisor, a fat old Glari named Juvor. Juvor laughed in his face. Boy, those stories are for children. You think ghosts are flying around in space? He chuckled. Delete it. Get back to work. But Varnix couldn't. That night, in his small room, he accessed a restricted database, one used by military command during wartime. He searched for Terran Fleet and Probe 09A. To his surprise, there were files, hidden, protected. He cracked one open. It showed a star map. Points of light blinking out. System after system, gone silent. No ships, no trade, no life. And all the systems were vanishing in a spiral pattern, heading inward. Varnix zoomed in on the pattern. The path ended close to Varel space. Too close. He felt a chill. The next day, Varnix tried to contact the Galactic Council's science branch. He sent them the probe's data and the vanishing systems. They ignored him. Fabricated, one scientist replied. Old AI error. Human tech was unstable. Frustrated, Varnix shared the data with an old contact, a salvage captain named Gel. Gel was rough, always smelling like burnt metal and cheap fuel, but he knew space like no one else. When he saw the data, Gel turned pale. I've seen this before, Gel said. A long time ago, I found a station out near the void. No bodies, no damage, just silence, like something pulled the soul out of it. Varnix leaned forward. Could it be them? Gel didn't answer. He only nodded, once. Later that week, a mining colony near the edge of the spiral path went dark. No warning, no distress call, just silence. The council finally paid attention. A scout team was sent. 3 ships, all armed, only one returned. The ship floated into a starport, scarred, burned, and nearly broken. The crew was dead, all but one. The survivor was a pilot named Rayonor. Half his face was melted, his voice weak. Before he died, he spoke 4 words. The old ones fly. His eyes stayed open in fear, even after his heart stopped. The council held emergency talks. Some still denied the threat. Others panicked. A few remembered the ancient stories, the fleet that Earth had built in the final years before silence. Ships made from black metal, able to fold space, armed with weapons no one understood. And one terrifying truth. Those ships had never been defeated. They had simply disappeared. No one knew where. No one knew why. Until now. Back in his archive, Varnix stared at the last image from Probe 09A. It showed a massive shadow drifting through space. Sharp lines, no lights. just a dark, triangle-shaped ship longer than a moon. One line of code ran, at the bottom of the image, ID confirmed, Terran Dreadnought, Class Revenant. Varnix whispered to himself, the myths were real. The old human fleet was no myth. It was moving, and empires would fall. The Galactic Council refused to panic, even after the mining colony vanished, even after the scout ship returned broken, even after Ryanor died with fear in his eyes. They held a meeting in the high towers of Syraxis Prime, the capital of the galaxy's most powerful empire, the Varn Dominion. Hundreds of alien leaders from across the stars gathered. They stood proud, dressed in gold and silver robes, each more decorated than the last. At the center, Counselor Draxar raised his voice. "These are rumors," he said, his voice calm and strong. "There is no human fleet. Earth is dead. Let us not lose our minds over shadows and ghost stories." The room clapped. Varnix watched the speech on a small screen in his archive. He shook his head. He knew they were wrong. The data was real. The signal was real. The probe was real. And the vanishing systems? Real. Another report came in. A trade. Route between the Zarn Republic and the Dreth Combine. Gone. Ships missing. Stations silent. This time, no one laughed. The Dreth sent a war fleet to investigate. 50 warships, heavy guns. Elite soldiers. They never came back. The last message received from the Dreth commander chilled every spine in the galaxy. "We made contact. Ship is black. It moves without engines. It sees us. We..." Then silence. No explosion, no warning. Just nothing. The Zarn Republic demanded answers. "Who is attacking us?" they asked the council. Still, Counselor Draxar denied. There is no proof of a human threat. It could be pirates. It could be a rogue AI. We must not speak of ghosts. But the public wasn't blind. News began to spread, leaked footage, vanishing systems. Satellite images showing large triangle-shaped ships drifting toward populated sectors, and always the same pattern. No survivors. Varnix received a message from Gel, the salvage captain. "We need to talk. Urgent. Meet me at Station Zeta 9. Come. Alone." Varnix left that night, sneaking out of the archives. He didn't pack much, just his data cube and an old pistol. Something inside him said this meeting would change everything. Station Zeta 9 floated near the edge of the Ashen Void. It was supposed to be abandoned, but Gel had made it a secret hideout. When Varnix arrived, he found the place dark and silent. Too silent. He entered carefully. "Gel?" he called out. No answer. He found Gel's ship. The door was open. Inside, the control panels were flashing with a red warning, "Unknown contact. Detected. Proximity alert." And then he saw the body. Gel was slumped over, eyes wide open, mouth frozen in shock. No wounds. No blood, just fear. Varnix stepped back. That's when he heard it. A soft hum, deep, cold, mechanical. He looked out the window, and there it was, a giant, dark ship drifting silently outside the station. No lights, no signal, no heat, but it was there. Watching. Shape older than time, sharp as a blade with a symbol carved into its black hull. Revenant. Varnix ran. He didn't stop until his shuttle was far from Zeta 9. He sent a message to everyone he could. "They're real. The old human fleet is real. I saw it with my own eyes. They're wiping out empires." But by the time anyone listened, it was too late. The Dreth Combine fell first. Then the Zarn Republic. In just weeks, entire sectors went dark. Billions vanished without a sound. No explosions. No resistance. The old human ships didn't attack with noise. They attacked with silence. They moved like ghosts. They struck like nightmares. Some survivors said the ships could disappear and reappear. Others said they fired no weapons, only beams of dark light that tore through ships like paper. One trader described them best. "It's like they're not just ships. It's like they're alive. Like they hate us." Back on Syraxis Prime, the council met again. They were no longer laughing. Counselor Draxar stood once more. His voice was not calm now. It shook. We must prepare. If these are Terran warships, we need alliances, defenses, shields. We need everything. Too late. A new signal arrived. This one was not from a probe. It was from the human fleet itself. 5 words. Simple. Cold. We remember. You forgot us. Then a list of names. Every empire. Every council race. Every leader who once mocked Earth. And at the very end, a countdown. Syraxis Prime went silent. After the human message ended, every screen across the galaxy showed the same thing. A black screen. 5 glowing red numbers. 5. 23, 19, 55, 5 days, 23 hours, 19 minutes, 55 seconds, and the numbers tick down, slowly, 1 second at a time. No one knew what would happen when the countdown hit 0, but they all felt the same thing. Doom. In the underground cities of Varn Dominion, citizens screamed and ran. People rushed to escape ships. Some tried to leave the galaxy. Others simply hid in fear. On the moons of Drexel, religious leaders called it the Return of the Forgotten. They believed humanity was a punishment for the sins of the galaxy. Across all systems, chaos spread. But the Council? They still argued. We must contact them, said Counselor Vess, a snake-like being with silver skin. We must offer peace, talk, negotiate. Counselor Draxar slammed his hand on the table. They're not coming to talk. They didn't send diplomats. They sent a list. And they all knew what that list was. A kill list. Every empire that once attacked Earth was named. Every planet that cheered when Earth fell was included. Every general, every admiral, every scientist who helped design the weapon that cracked Earth's crust. They were all marked, and now humanity was coming back, not with words, with judgment. Far away, in a secret bunker, Varnix watched the countdown with wide eyes. He hadn't slept in 2 days. His hands shook as he rewound the human message. Over and over, we remember. You forgot us. He stared at those words. What did they mean? What had the galaxy done? He pulled out an old banned file, a piece of hidden history, something he wasn't supposed to see. It was called Project Final Earthfall. It detailed the attack on Earth, not a war, a slaughter. Hundreds of alien ships had surrounded Earth. Bombs rained down. The oceans boiled. The sky turned black. Billions of humans died, and when it was over, the galaxy celebrated. They called it a mercy strike. They said humans were too dangerous. But now the ghosts of Earth had returned, and they were hunting. In deep space, far beyond the Council's eyes, the human fleet drifted through the void like shadows. Each ship was black, sharp, quiet. No lights, no radio signals. But they moved fast, faster than any alien ship ever built. Each ship had only one symbol painted on its side, a broken Earth, wrapped in chains, burning, with the word beneath, reclaim. The lead ship was bigger than the rest. Its name, Oblivion. Inside, the crew didn't speak much. They didn't need to. They had waited for generations, raised in silence, trained in darkness. Hardened by stories of betrayal and pain, these were not humans of peace. These were descendants of the forgotten. They carried the rage of a fallen planet, and now they were finally free to strike. The captain of the Oblivion stood at the center of the command bridge. His name was Commander Reyes. He looked at the timer on the screen. 5, 12, 33, 7, he nodded once. Begin Phase 1. Back on Syraxis Prime, people stared at the sky in fear. Then, the stars blinked. One by one, they vanished. People screamed, "The stars! The stars are going out!" But it wasn't the stars, it was the fleet. Thousands of black ships entering the system, blocking the light, surrounding them, without a single word, Without a single shot fired, the Varn Dominion sent out. Fighters, thousands, they didn't return. The human fleet didn't shoot. It didn't chase. It simply watched. A warning. 5 days left. Varnix packed his bag. He ran through dark tunnels toward the last shuttle bay. His heart pounded. He knew he had to survive, not for himself, but to tell the truth, to tell the story of what the galaxy had done and what humans had become. He looked up at the sky one last time. Black ships, no sound, no mercy, only the countdown remained. Tick, tick, tick. 3, 17, 02, 10. The countdown continued. Now only 3 days remained. But no one slept. No one laughed. Entire planets were frozen in fear. Everyone was waiting, waiting for the humans to move, waiting for the first blow. And then, it came. Not with a scream, not with an army, but with a single flash of light. It happened on the edge of the galaxy, a planet called Drelvas, known for its military command base, one of the first planets to vote for the destruction of Earth centuries ago. It vanished in a moment. Satellites showed only a burning cloud where Drelvas used to be. No weapons were seen. No ships. Just a strange black sphere that appeared above. The planet, then light, then nothing. Over 3 billion gone. No warnings, no demands, just silence. Across the galaxy, panic exploded. "This is genocide," cried Councillor Vess. "They're not attacking civilians," shouted Draxar. "They're erasing targets from history." "Contact them, please," others begged, but there was no one to talk to. Humanity did not respond. They only continued. The countdown, and the list of destroyed planets began to grow. Day 3, Drelvas, command base, erased. Day 2, Triox Station, biolab that helped make Earth's final virus, destroyed. Day 2, evening, Kreller Moon, home of Admiral Voth, vaporized. Day 1, Varnix's signal station, hacked and used to broadcast old Earth screams across. The Council Network. Billions watched in horror as recordings from Earth's final day played on every screen, civilians crying, children burning. The final words, "We're still here. We're still..." Then static. And all across the stars, a single symbol flashed, "Reclaim." In a hidden control room deep inside the warship Oblivion, Commander Reyes stood with his arms behind his back. His face was calm, cold, focused. A young officer turned to him. "Next target locked, sir. Veltran 6. They built the weapons that pierced Earth's mantle." Commander Reyes nodded. "Fire. No celebration. No cheers. This was not war. This was justice, a large, dark device launched from the bottom of Oblivion. It moved silently, faster than light, heading toward Veltran 6. From the planet, it looked like a star falling. Then it cracked the sky. Veltran 6 exploded from the inside out, its metal core boiling, splitting the planet into 4 giant pieces. One of the galaxy's strongest empires, gone. Meanwhile, Varnix hid in an old cargo ship. He sent secret recordings out to rebel channels. He spoke in a trembling voice. "They are not like us. They don't demand. They don't threaten. They act. Every empire that helped crush Earth is now being hunted. These humans, they don't want power. They want memory. They want to erase the erasers." People started listening. Not everyone believed the old council anymore. Some began asking, were the humans ever the monsters? Or were we? Across space, more fleets tried to fight. The Seldaran launched over 10,000 warships toward the human zone. Only 3 returned. They didn't speak. They didn't blink. They had scars across their faces. Their eyes burned red. When asked what happened, one only whispered, "They didn't fire at us. They let us shoot first. Then they showed us what fear really is." The others never spoke again. On the Oblivion, Commander Reyes stood before his crew. He looked at the countdown. Through 1854:09, less than 1 day left. We began this to remember the fallen, he said, but the galaxy must now remember us. His voice was low, powerful. Tomorrow we strike the heart, the council home world. No more waiting, no more warnings. Earth's ghosts will walk into their chamber. He paused. Prepare for final descent. Back on Siraxis Prime, alarms rang across the skies. The fleet had arrived, hundreds of black ships above the capital. The council stood helpless. "This is impossible," Vess shouted. "We have shields, fortresses, thousands of fighters." But it didn't matter. The humans weren't using weapons. They were using fear. They sent down drones. Each drone dropped a single item on the streets, a broken earth medal, and with it, a message. "This is not revenge. This is remembrance. You forgot Earth. We will make sure you never forget again." Then the drones vanished, and the skies turned red. The final hours began. The sky above Siraxis Prime was red. The stars were hidden. The sun dimmed by the black ships of the old human fleet. People stared from rooftops. Some cried. Some prayed. Some simply stood frozen. And then they came. At first, only shadows dropped from the sky. Tall, silent, armored in black and silver. The Earthborn. Human soldiers, thought to be extinct, now walking across alien streets like ghosts out of a nightmare. But they didn't attack. They didn't speak. They simply walked toward the council palace. Inside the palace, Counselor Vess trembled. "How are they here?" she shouted. Her guards aimed their weapons at the main door. Their hands shook. Some had never seen real war. They had only heard stories. "They should be dead," someone cried. But the door did not break. It opened, softly, calmly, and through it stepped a human. He was not young. He had gray hair, a scar across his cheek, and armor that looked worn, burned, and heavy with memory. He was Captain Adrian Vall, and behind him, the Earthborn filled the hall in silence. Adrian spoke. "You judged Earth, you destroyed it, and now you will answer to the ones who survived it." Counselor Draxar stepped forward. We were told Earth was dangerous. You were growing too fast." Adrian's eyes were cold. "We reached for the stars. You gave us fire. You feared what you didn't understand. So you ended us." His voice lowered. "But you forgot one thing." He raised his hand, showing an old metal tag. Burned. Dirty. With a name scratched out. "We never forgot you." Outside the palace, the crowd grew. Aliens from hundreds of species gathered. They expected violence. Instead, they saw something stranger. The Earthborn soldiers were not destroying cities. They were entering libraries, record halls, and archives. 1. Soldiers stood in front of a massive statue built to honor the Great Alliance victory over Earth. He pulled out a tool, and with a slow motion he began to cut the statue down. The crowd watched as the stone fell, crashing to the ground. The humans weren't here for blood. They were here to erase the lies. Deep underground, old rebel leader Varnix watched the news in shock. He had expected chaos. But this was something different. "They're not conquerors," he whispered. "They're witnesses." Back in the council hall, Adrian walked past the stunned leaders. He placed a small device on the table. It lit up. A hologram appeared. Images of Earth before the fire. Cities full of light, oceans, children, music, art. Then came the second set of images. The attack, the flames, the screams, Earth's final moment. Every council member was forced to watch. Some looked away. Some cried. One Counselor Rune whispered, "I didn't know. We were told your people were animals." Adrian turned to him. "We were human. And now, you will remember that." Suddenly, an alarm blared. A fleet was approaching. The Krell remnant, one of the few powers still trying to fight back. Commander Reyes sent a message to Adrian. "Incoming ships. Orders?" Adrian looked out the window at the stars. Then he said, Do not fire unless fired upon. Let them make the choice. The Krell fleet entered orbit. 50 warships, heavy cannons. They opened fire, and the human ships didn't move. The blasts hit shields, flared off into the sky. Then Oblivion powered up. One shot, just one. It didn't hit a ship. It hit space, and created a gravity shockwave that tossed the entire Krell fleet into each other like leaves in a storm. Within seconds, the fleet was gone. Not destroyed, disabled. Reyes turned to Adrian. Mercy? Adrian's voice was steady. Memory. All across the galaxy, systems went quiet. No one dared move. The humans had returned. They weren't the monsters the stories told. They weren't the bloodthirsty beasts. They were ghosts with purpose, soldiers with scars, survivors with long memories, and now they walked among the stars again, back on Earth's ruins, deep under ash and broken stone. Something glowed, an old bunker. Lights blinked on, a voice echoed in the dark. Signal confirmed. The fleet has engaged. Phase 2. Rebirth. Ready. Far below the ruins of Earth, beneath rock and ash, a machine came to life. Its lights blinked, in the darkness. Its voice echoed through long-dead tunnels. Phase 2. Active. Awaiting Earthborn confirmation. The bunker hadn't seen life in over a century, but now, it stirred. Above, in space, Captain Adrian Vall stood on the bridge of the Oblivion. The stars looked cold through the viewing glass. His eyes, older now, reflected more than light. They reflected ghosts. He remembered the final days of Earth, the screaming skies, the burning oceans, the betrayal. But even then, Earth had whispered one last plan. And now, it was waking up on the alien world of Zareth 9. News of the humans' return reached the underground resistance. A young girl named Lyra, half human and raised in secret, held a small pendant given to her by her mother. It had never opened, not once, until now. The metal warmed in her hand. It clicked. A small light shone, a hologram formed. It was a woman, strong, tired, but smiling. If you're seeing this, it means the old fleet has returned, and so must you. You are a child of Earth, and Earth remembers. Lyra gasped. All her life, she'd been told she didn't belong. Now the planet that was destroyed long ago had just called her home. Across the galaxy, others like Lyra received the same message. Scattered children, forgotten bloodlines, descendants of the lost human colonies. They all heard it. The flame was never gone. It waited for you. Back on Oblivion, Commander Reyes entered the war room. Sir, he said, something is happening on Earth. A signal from the old bunkers. Deep level. It's waking up. Adrian didn't speak at first. Then he nodded. Good, he whispered. Let them hear us. He turned to the communication officer. Broadcast this signal. To everyone, every system, every world. Let the stars hear Earth's voice again. The signal went out, and across the galaxy, billions paused as a voice spoke through every screen and device. To the galaxy that left us behind, you failed to kill us. You only delayed us. Earth is not gone. We are Earth, and we are awake. On the Council homeworld, panic spread. Counselor Vess slammed her hands on the table. They're spreading like fire. Old allies, neutral worlds. Everyone is listening. To them! Counselor Rune, still shaken by what he had seen in the archives, whispered, They're not just fighting. They're rebuilding. Vess stared at him. Then we stopped them before they do. But it was already too late. On the surface of Earth, black drones flew over the ashes. They scanned, dug, and rebuilt. Huge machines unfolded. Towers began to rise from the ruins. The Echo Network, once a myth, was real. A buried system of satellites, bunkers, and AI, built in Earth's last days, was now reactivating. Adrian and the Earthborn had not come just to remind the galaxy. They had come to resurrect Earth. Lyra arrived on a hidden moon, where a human outpost blinked under its crust. There, she met others like her. Children of Earth's bloodline. They were being trained, not to fight like killers, but to lead like survivors. One teacher, an old soldier with a missing eye, spoke to the class. "You're not here to destroy the galaxy. You're here to remind it who we are. And if they come for us again, they'll see what Earth can become when it's rebuilt from pain." But far away, something else stirred. An ancient enemy. One that had once whispered to the Council long ago, "Destroy Earth before it grows." Now it watched the humans rise again. In a dark place beyond known space, alien minds joined. The old ones return. The mistake rises again. We must correct it. A new fleet began to form, older than the Council, older than the wars. Their goal, finish what they started. But Earth wasn't alone anymore, and the voice of its people echoed louder with every day, not just in war. The galaxy had always believed the Council ruled everything. They were wrong. Far beyond the Council's reach, in a dead corner of the universe, the real enemy stirred. They were ancient, hidden. Not a species, but a force. They called themselves the architects. They had created empires, shaped wars, and long ago they had marked Earth for extinction, not because humans were weak, but because humans were different, too stubborn, too wild, too free. Back on Oblivion, Adrian stood before a new star map. Red dots blinked across systems that were once quiet. "They're here," he said. "Not council ships, older, heavier. We've seen these designs before, in the ruins of Mars." Commander Reyes' voice was low. "Then the architects are real." Adrian nodded. They were the ones pulling the strings, the ones who told the Council to burn Earth. And now that we've returned, they want to erase us again. On a hidden architect warship, the creatures spoke with voices like broken glass. The humans remember. Their bloodlines awaken. Their planet breathes. We must end this. Now. Meanwhile, Lyra stood at the ruins of an Earth city being rebuilt. She touched one of the new walls, solid metal, carved with Earth's old language. Beside her, the old soldier whispered, "They never wanted us to fight. They wanted us to forget. That was their real weapon, silence." But Earth had found its voice again. And it was loud. The architect fleet appeared without warning, dozens of massive ships, each one older than the Council itself, each one designed to erase civilizations. They didn't send demands, they didn't offer terms, they simply opened fire. The Oblivion and the old human fleet responded instantly. The battle over the planet. Shira 3 was brutal. Flames lit the skies. Ships exploded. But the humans didn't retreat. They didn't panic. They fought like ghosts with fire in their bones. Captain Adrian's voice echoed across the human fleet. "We are not myths. We are not relics. We are the storm you buried and forgot. Now feel the weight of that mistake." On the Council world, Councilor Rune received the architect message. "Stand down. We will finish the Earth problem." But something had changed. "Run." Turned off the message, he looked around the chamber of leaders. "We made a deal with monsters," he said, "and now they want to burn everything." For the first time, the Council feared not just the humans, but the architects. Back in space, the old human fleet did something strange. They stopped firing, they pulled back. The architects, confused, pressed forward. Then, it happened. Earth's Echo Network activated its final phase. Satellites long hidden, black holes in disguise, unfolded across space. They were not weapons. They were graves. Each satellite opened, revealing trapped architect war machines, pieces of their old invasions, captured and hidden by Earth's last defenses centuries ago. Each one broadcast a signal, a virus, a memory, a reminder of how humans had defeated them before, not with power, but with planning. with patience, with pain. The architect fleet paused. Their systems glitched. Their war AI stuttered. Then Earth's voice returned. You tried to erase us. But humans do not vanish. We plant roots. We bleed into stone. And when we rise, we come with everything. The virus spread. The architect ships began to fall from the inside. Lyra watched from the command center of a new Earth defense hub. Tears filled her eyes. She wasn't just fighting for revenge. She was watching her people take back the future. One by one, the Ya. Architect ships exploded or went dark. Some tried to run. Earth let them go, not because they were weak, but because they were done chasing shadows. In the end, Earth stood, burned, rebuilt, changed, but alive. And now the galaxy remembered. The old human fleet was no myth. It was the warning. Captain Adrian sent one final message to the stars. Let this be the last war you bring to Earth, because the next time, we won't wait for you to strike first.